Hey, what's up guys? My name is Naam, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about unemployment benefits, and in particular, if they're still worth getting. As we all know, anybody who has been following the stimulus packages and unemployment benefits, that extra $600 a week benefit is due to end by the end of this month. Depending on the state that you live in, it could be either July 31st or July 25th, whenever your state unemployment last week pay is. So the core question of this video is it still worth applying for? Since you already know that an extra $600 a week is going to be expiring in the next couple of weeks, if you're still on the fence of applying for unemployment, this video will show you everything that you need to know. So let me give you guys a quick rundown of all the benefits that you're entitled for if you're eligible for unemployment. So there are 3 programs that come along with the extra $600 a week benefit. So the first one is the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, and also Pandemic Unemployment Emergency Compensation. So first off, the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation. This program is for anybody who is eligible for regular state unemployment benefits. They will receive an extra $600 a week for the time being. And second, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. That program for any individual who is self-employed, independent contractors, or for any other individual who don't typically qualify for regular state unemployment benefits. This program is targeted mainly for them, and they're eligible up to 39 weeks of benefits and up to $600 a week for the time being. So the PEUC, which is the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation, that program just extends 13 weeks of benefits for anyone who exhausted their state unemployment benefits. I know that the last couple of sentences, all I said was pandemic, unemployment, compensation. I know it gets kind of confusing, so just rewind it if you have to see it one more time. So if you're late to the game, like you've been unemployed all this time and you're not sure if you should still collect unemployment right now, since the benefits are about to end, I still recommend for any individual who's still eligible for unemployment to collect unemployment. These programs are in place for situations like this. So if you become unemployed, you already paid into the system. For individuals who are self-employed, they came up with the PUA program for individuals who are self-employed. First off, let's talk about retroactive pay. If you've been unemployed all this time and you're eligible for unemployment, then apply for unemployment, because from the day that you become unemployed, you will receive all that retroactive payments up to that date. So by the time you watch this video, it's gonna be sometime in July, but if you've been unemployed since June 1st, you will receive the extra $600 a week up to June 1st and all of the other state unemployment benefits that you're entitled to. I know there has been some problems that are still going on with retroactive payments. Some states have yet to pay their retroactive payments. Some of them are delaying their payments. Some states are even missing the payments in between. The thing is that if you're entitled to any of these benefits and you still have an active claim, and if you have a direct deposit or information on file, a debit card, you still are entitled to those retroactive payments. Whenever the state does decide to pay out those funds, you will receive them. That is probably one of the most annoying things that are going on with unemployment right now, aside from unemployment offices not answering the phones, and it's very difficult to get on the phone with an actual human. So now let's talk about another thing that's keeping people from applying for unemployment. I do get some comments in my unemployment videos stating that you have to pay this money back. That is not completely true. The only thing that you have to pay back is if you were overpaid or you committed some sort of fraud or you lied on your application or when you're certifying your benefits. So as long as when you're applying for unemployment and you're certifying your benefits on a weekly basis and answering all the questions truthfully, you do not have to pay anything back. The extra $600 a week benefit, the government is funding the state programs for you, okay? This is not funded by the state, so you don't have to pay any of this money back, but just keep in mind that there is taxes that you will have to pay. So this moves me on to my next point. Taxes is the only thing that you will have to pay. Depending on the state that you live in, some of them will let you withhold taxes automatically. Some of them you may have to select a box, but some of them they will not give you an option. So just keep that in mind when you have to file taxes in 2021. For example, here in California, you only can withhold federal taxes from your state unemployment benefits. That extra $600 a week, there's no taxes that are taken away from that. Even though the government is giving you this extra $600 a week, this is still taxable income. So when tax time comes around, you will receive a 1099-G, I believe, and when you file your taxes, you will have to pay taxes on the money that you did receive. So a good rule of thumb is that if you don't have taxes automatically withhold from the extra $600 a week benefit or your state automatic benefits, keep aside like 10 to 20% of that payment until tax time rolls around, so you're not surprised by any large tax bill. So now let's talk about another situation, is that if you apply for unemployment, it will affect your work or your employer, since they will find out. The truth of the reality is that whenever you do apply for unemployment, the unemployment offices, they got to make sure you have a legitimate claim. So they will contact your employer just to make sure that you are furloughed, laid off, or either you got fired from your job. So if everything is true, like your employer did lay you off or furloughed you, then you will be eligible for unemployment benefits. This will not affect your employer from rehiring you or any other previous employers. But now let's just say that your employer did lay you off permanently and you're not expected to return back to that employer. So when everything pans out and when the extra $600 a week runs out and you have to find a job just due to the fact that you need more money just to sustain your way of living, your new employer will not find out if you were on unemployment previously, so it should not affect the employer from hiring you if you were on unemployment. The only way that your employer has any sort of effect to your unemployment is due to the fact that if you refuse to return back to work. So depending on the state that you live in, there are phases where they must meet for reopening their business. So if they're doing it in a safely manner, they're telling you have to wear a mask, they're giving you PPE and hand sanitizers and all these social distancing rules. If they are listening to the rules and the regulations, then there's no reason for you to refuse your work. Unless if you are considered a high risk person, like you're over the age of 65, or you have any underlying conditions like chronic heart disease, diabetes, or some type of disease that suppresses your immune system, that would be a legitimate reason to refuse going back to work. But if any of those situations do not pertain to you, then if you refuse your work, then your unemployment benefits will be in jeopardy. So now let's just say that you're unemployed for a couple of weeks, but now you return back to work and you're just thinking to yourself like, dang, I wish I should have applied for unemployment. Can I still apply for unemployment to receive those weeks that I was unemployed? So the answer to that question is that it's going to be really difficult to get retroactive payments for the time that you were unemployed just due to the fact that you have a job right now. I know that is kind of like a messed up situation since you are entitled to those benefits since you were unemployed, but since you're back at work now, the state is not going to look at you as a priority since you have a source of income. The only way that you can still receive unemployment and return back to work is that if you are eligible for unemployment, but the amount of money that you are making once returning back to work is much less than your weekly benefit. Like for example, if you are eligible for unemployment, say your weekly benefit is $450. If you make $451, then you would not be eligible for that week of unemployment. And if you continue to make more than $450 a week, then unfortunately you do not qualify. But now let's just say that your income does fluctuate from week to week. Like for 1 week you make $150, the next week you make $500. So in that case, would you still be eligible for unemployment? So whenever you do file for unemployment, you will get a claim balance and also a benefits year. As long as you still have some money on that claim balance and also some time left on your benefits year, even though your money that you make every week fluctuates, as long as it's less than your weekly benefit, you will be eligible for unemployment for that week. So now let's talk more about eligibility. So first off, with the extra $600 a week benefit and state unemployment benefits, it is optional for you to look for work. But just double check with your state because some states will have different dates where they will now require you to look back for work, and some states will require you to start looking for work after a certain date. Like here in California, it is optional to look for work right now until further notice. Some states are doing that as well, or like in Washington, I believe after August 1st, that's when they require you to look for work. So aside from looking for work, you still have to be eligible to get ready to return back to work if you get recalled. So I have been receiving some messages recently in my comments and also some private messages on Instagram stating that I had to go to a different country to visit a family member and things like that. Since you are outside of the US, you cannot return back to work just due to the fact that you're not physically here in the US to return back to work. So as long as you're on unemployment, just make sure you stay local and don't be traveling out of state. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it for me. I know I made a lot of videos about unemployment. So if you're new to this whole thing, I made like a bunch of videos on unemployment, so I'll show them over here. So stay safe out there, guys.